This is something completely new to me. These are not coffee shrubs, these are coffee trees. And that tree keeps going on up, 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 up. This is the trunk. And this is not Robusta. I mean, this is a true orchard. And I would say taller and in a lot of ways more rustic than what I've seen in Ethiopia. It's all coffee. Up high up there, you'll see the shade trees. Coffee never stumped in 50 years, never cut. There's a area over on the other side that is stumped. And I am in Timor, timor-leste, East Timor, the independent country that was a Portuguese colony and then dominated by Indonesia in a rather brutal campaign. Finally achieved independence. It's 1.1 million people. It's such a small country. And this is our first drive up into the coffee area from Dili on the coast. And we're just about over 1,200 meters. Not incredibly high. There's some stumping here without too much result. They did stump one of the old trees. They call all this mocha. It does look a lot like Bourbon. Here's a young plant with a bronze tip. Of course, it kind of looks like Typica too. And we have our very large leaves that you don't see much, but it's because it's in such a heavy understory of primary shade trees up here. Beautiful. Very low production though. Very low production. And here's, like some Typicas and like a lot of Bourbons, the nodes on the branch with cherry, a very distinct sort of separation of clumps. A lot of the coffee here is just planted itself, basically. Some of these little guys should really be taken out. But it's a rather casual coffee production, but this is actually a 5-hectare farm in Aralau, which I can't pronounce correctly. I should go find the other guys. They wonder where I am. Look at these roots here. Going up to this, planted with the coffee. This is truly a spectacular example of coffee production. That coughing is Benjamin. I noticed he's, oh, there he is. And he has, this is his farm. He doesn't speak any English. So what they have here is a great varietal casually planted, fairly low production. And you just sort of come in and pick it. No inputs, no pruning, little pruning. I mean, for sheer aesthetics, this is one of the most beautiful coffee land I've ever walked on. But this is what maybe a tourist would really want from to see when they saw a coffee farm. Just it's a real forest, but this isn't exactly the normal practice because you just don't get much coffee growing it in such a way. So they say coffee was planted here under the Portuguese in middle of the 19th century, and like other Portuguese colonies was pretty much abandoned and destitute and just sort of maybe for better or worse, not really cultivated. They say 97% Catholic, so it's very unusual from the Indonesian neighbors in so many ways. And then really still suffering the effects of this brutal independence battle with Indonesia. Timor is where the original natural cross of Arabica and Robusta occurred. So Timor variety is what they then, once discovered, they made Timor from. But I'm told you don't find Timor variety planted here. It's spectacular. If you could sell leaves, if you could grow and sell leaves, they'd be rich. But I challenge you in these images here to find a coffee cherry. There's some up in here, up in there, if you can see them. That's a bit of a problem. But this is the plant, what the plant kind of wants to do. Just grow tall, make a lot of leaves, and get a tiny bit of fruit. Definitely some happy chickens here. The coffee production here, they're saying that the statistic is 167 kgs per hectare. Could that be that's insane. That's so low. You should have 800. You can have 1,500 per hectare. Other places 1,500. I don't even know if that number could be correct. It's impossibly low. So that means not only no profit, but very little livelihood that you can make off of that. And that's a problem because Timor is extremely poor. And coffee is the export. Now they have discovered gas or oil, and they're drilling here. Australians are, but so it's chasing and harassing chickens. Is this beautiful timber bamboo, massive culms. Huge timber bamboo. This is all looks to me like cassava, yucca. Anyway, it's hard to really know what to say here because it's just so beautiful. You wish that this was the best coffee in the world, but it's not a great business for them if they can't produce this much. 1,200 meters is respectable here. It's pretty good altitude. There's coffee up at 1,700 meters here too. But for Indonesia, absolutely normal to have 1,200 meter coffee and to have fairly good quality from that altitude. And this variety you're not going to see in Indonesia in general. Of course, we're not in Indonesia technically, but